What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a bunch of updates for you, some really important updates as the dominoes continue to fall, as I have been saying. And look, I mean, eventually they're going to run out of dominoes. But look, all the sports, major league sports in this country in particular are having some real tough issues. Football, college football, Major League Baseball in particular. The other sports are doing better, but have had their issues as well. But we got some important stuff to talk about. Some college football. There was a major college linebacker that opted out, as well as an entire team. And also another Dolphins opt out. So we got a bunch to talk about. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that I do want to discuss is the college linebacker that has opted out. So Penn State star Micah Parsons expected to opt out of the 2020 season, declare for 2021 NFL draft. Per reports, Penn State star linebacker Micah Parsons, a potential top 10 pick in the 2020 NFL draft, is expected to opt out. I think they meant 2021 draft. Maybe, or no, this, because he was supposed to play this year. So 20 is expected to opt out of, no, but that would be the 2021 draft. That would be next year. Anyway, is expected to opt out of playing 2020 college football season, according to Yahoo Sports' Eric Edholm and Lions 247. The highest rated Nittany Lions player recruited by coach James Franklin could presumably be doing so amid concerns about the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Parsons racked up 109 tackles, including 14 tackles for loss and 5 sacks as a sophomore last season, while earning consensus All-American honors and the Big Ten's Linebacker of the Year award. He was also a Butkus Award finalist. So, pause right here for just a second. Obviously, that's huge for Penn State. That's a massive recruit. But in the it's 2020 now. Obviously, it's not the 2020 draft. It would be the 2021 draft. Because that's the next one coming up. Anyway, but it massively affects the next draft, right? Because now he's not going to be playing this season. It's likely that the college football season in its entirety will get shut down at some point, especially when now we've seen we've seen the entire Ivy League already cancel out, and now we have, which we'll get to in a minute, an FBS team that has completely opted out. And so, look, man, it's going to cause additional problems going forward for like next year's draft and player evaluation, so on and so forth. Anyway, the decision is likely not an easy one for Parsons, who had 2 seasons of eligibility remaining entering 2020 and stated goals of winning a national championship at Penn State. So look, real quick, I also want to note that a few of these college guys now that have dropped out have said that they're going to declare for the 2021 draft and they're going to prepare for it, right? So, which is all well and good, but it's not anywhere close to the same thing as if they had another full season of tape, right? So they can, anyway, so I think you guys get it. It makes things a lot more difficult in that way as well. Parsons' expected choice comes in the wake of fellow Big Ten star and Minnesota wide receiver Rashad Bateman deciding to skip the season to prepare for the NFL draft. These decisions come as Big Ten leaders are reportedly considering how to proceed with the 2020 season if it is played at all. The league is yet to release its schedule, and several programs have had to pause workouts due to COVID-19 cases among players. I'm telling you, bro, people don't ever want to listen, but watch. It's going to get shut down. If there is a season, Penn State will feel Parsons' absence. The Nittany Lions are ranked as the preseason number 9 team in the nation per the CBS Sports 130 after 3 11-win seasons in the last 4 years. Parsons was a large part of the reason. The Pennsylvania native was a 5-year prospect out of class 2018. Anyway, whatever. So obviously he's done a lot for them, and that's a major, major impact should they lose him. They have lost him for the season, right? Because he's decided to opt out. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the information on the school now that has decided to opt out. Because to this point, like I said, we've seen the entire Ivy League, so that's going to be like Harvard and Yale, right? Those schools. So all of those schools have already been taken out of the season. Then you have a rash of players, including some prominent ones that have decided to opt out now. You also have several teams now that have had to completely shut down their practices, right? And their preparation for the season, which puts them even further behind. because of COVID-19, and now we are coming up on the first FBS program to actually officially cancel. Who's that? Well, it appears that UConn cancels 2020 college football season amid COVID-19 concerns. UConn football announced on Wednesday that it won't be competing during the 2020-2021 academic year, canceling its season due to risks associated with COVID-19. With the announcement, the Huskies become the first FBS team to opt out the 2020 season. Now, is it, one of the top teams, one of the most prominent teams? Not quite, but the Huskies are a pretty, well-known school or program. The players will remain on scholarship. Their status as students will continue through either virtual or in-person learning this academic year, and they will have access to the football facilities and support services in accordance with NCAA rules and local health protocols. But according to athletic director David Benedict, the safety challenges created by COVID-19 place our football student athletes at an unacceptable level of risk. An unacceptable level of risk. Now that's a guy that I can get on fucking board with. That's right. It is an unacceptable level of risk. And that's what the NFL should understand, but they don't, because the only thing they understand is money. The necessary measures needed to mitigate risk of football student athletes contracting the coronavirus are not conducive to delivering an optimal experience for our team, Benedict said. Ultimately, the student athletes would rather preserve their year of eligibility with an eye to competing under more typical circumstances during the 2021 season. And look, with the continued pace that we're on, there might not be sports next year. That's why, that's another one of those things, right? People who bitch about not having a season this year, or for example, people who would bitch about the lockdowns or wearing masks, any of those people are just flat out fucking morons, because their inability and unwillingness to, deal with the little bit of uncomfortability now will save you a lot of bullshit problems and heartache in the future. But instead, people want to be stupid-ass, selfish pieces of fucking shit, and then fucking, run around being fucking morons, and then prolong this whole thing. So because the NFL and all these major programs, etc., are insisting that they need to keep open and they gotta just keep pushing, the only reason being for the money. They won't explicitly say that, but all of their actions prove it, particularly with the NFL. Everything that they've done has been money, 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 and money for the NFL and the owners, not the players or anybody else. It's how can we fucking rob them of as much money so we lose as little as possible. Anyway, just saying, look, it's because there's a real risk that the 2021 season, right, when the Ivy Leagues decided to cancel, they said we will reevaluate at the beginning of the year. But because of the way everybody, particularly our leaders in this country, are handling this thing, the likelihood of us not having sports next year is very possible now too. Okay, great. So fuck it up this year and fuck it up next year because you guys are fucking selfish, greedy morons. Got it. UConn opened spring practice on February 4th and was one of the few schools to complete its spring practice schedule. Players have also been back on campus going through voluntary activities since July under COVID-19 protocols with 0 positive tests. Still, the risks associated with the season were understood by the players who offered their own collective statement as on the decision. See, and before I get to that, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Because there'll be a lot of people that'll be like, look, but they completed their spring program. And look, they haven't had any positive tests. So see, it must be working. No. Stupid. Because just because it hasn't happened yet, certainly doesn't mean that it won't. And the likelihood of it is substantial. In fact, the more that you fucking continue to take these risks and chances, drastically, exponentially increases the likelihood that it will happen, right? So this may seem like a strange example, but let's say you have a handgun, a revolver, right? And you fill it. It's got 5 bullets in it, but let's say you have just 1 bullet, right? Russian roulette. Everybody's familiar with that. Most people are. Okay. You spin the thing, and you're going to have 5 chances, okay? But if you don't take any chances, if you don't put the fucking gun to your head and pull the trigger, you're definitely not going to get that one bullet, right? But if you try once, you might get lucky, and you might not get fucking shot in the face or in the side of the head or wherever the fuck you decide to hold the gun to your fucking head. Okay? But then if you try a second time, you exponentially increase your probability of shooting yourself in the fucking face. Okay? So, it's absurd. The more that they push this, the more the likelihood of massive outbreaks and then death will occur. But so that's why I love this. That's why I actually really love this story. Because it's people showing that they can actually operate in a world of logic, facts, and data. Because the facts and data, when processed through a logical lens, the lens of logic, tells you, even with the official numbers and the official status, which are low, undercounted, and inaccurate because of the people that are in power, trying to make it seem like it's better than it is, to convince people that it's better than it is, okay? But even with the numbers that we have now, they're saying, you know what, this is not worth the risk, and it's unacceptable. And I love it. All right, now let's see what the players had to say in, their joint statement. As a team, we are in full support of the decision to not compete in 2020. Well, look at that. A bunch of young men who have decided collectively that the best thing is to push it off. And just fucking beat this fucking thing. We don't have a vaccine. We have no idea how legitimately close we are to a vaccine. And, it's just... Anyway, we have many health concerns and not enough is known about the potential long-term effects of contracting COVID-19. That's another thing. Just because you might not get sick and die, you might be completely asymptomatic. But that doesn't mean it's still not doing absolutely fucking massive devastation to your body. I've seen reports of people who were asymptomatic, didn't get sick at all, but then died later, weeks later. Randomly because of some other strange fucking, weird, mysterious health concern. Mysterious because there's no seeming reason for it, and then they just die. But come to find out it was because they had contracted coronavirus, and it did things to their body that caused substantial problems that they were just unaware of. Anyway, additionally, we have not had the optimal time to train mentally and physically to be properly prepared to compete this season. We love this game and love competing. We came to campus in the beginning of July knowing there would be challenges presented by the pandemic, but it is apparent to us now that these challenges are impossible to overcome. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And that's another thing, right? Like I said, there's going to be a gang of injuries because none of these guys are ready to compete in this season. All right. So that's that. And we got one more thing. One more thing that I want to discuss with you guys. And that is one more player from the Dolphins at this point has opted out of the 2020 season. So who is that? Well, multiple sources are reporting that Dolphins wideout Albert Wilson opts out. So now that is a second one of our wide receivers. At the beginning of the season, as weak as this team was, that was the one position group that I said was probably one of our strongest. And now we've lost Allen Hurns and Albert Wilson. Those are two pretty big, as they add up, at least, two pretty big, spots taken now away from this roster. The Dolphins have lost, and now it's a second player altogether. The Dolphins have lost a second wide receiver in as many days. Wideout Albert Wilson just tweeted out word that he was choosing to opt out of the season, citing his goal to put my family in the best situation I see fit. His announcement comes a day after Allen Hurns announced he was opting out, leaving them thin at the position. Wilson caught 43 passes for 351 yards and a touchdown last season. He took a pay cut this offseason and was set to earn $3 million in base salary with another $1 million available in incentives. Dolphins wideout Albert Wilson opts out. Originally appeared on Pro Football Talk. And so obviously he gave a statement citing coronavirus concerns and the safety of his family. Obviously. So, telling you, man, I'm telling you, look, people don't ever want to listen. They don't ever want to fucking heed the advice. And then they want to turn around and make it seem like I'm an asshole or I'm negative because I'm just trying to warn people and tell you what is coming. I'm trying to save people heartache, disaster, destruction, all of these things. And people just want to constantly ignore, dismiss, and then fucking, you know, chastise and ridicule and, you know, attack, right? Okay, fine. I mean, it's a good thing that, like, I have a thick skin and I've been through a lot of shit in my life and I'm really resilient and shit because, frankly, I don't personally care. But, like, on that kind of a level, like, I'm not offended, but I do care because, unfortunately, what it means is not only is this season going to end up getting fucked, but then it very much increases the possibility that next year we'll be without sports. Or, you know, on the greater scale, because there are things bigger and more important than sports, you know, that we're going to continue to be in lockdown throughout the remainder of this year. The entire year of 2020, essentially, will have been in quarantine for me. If that's the case. If we get to fucking January 1st and we're still in the midst of a raging pandemic in which I am forced to be quarantined and unemployed and out of work and shit because of it, then, you know, like, it's ridiculous. And it's all because people refuse to social distance, because the lockdowns were not anywhere near efficient. Our testing has been garbage, contact rate, every single aspect of this entire thing. People refuse to wear masks. It's garbage every fucking which way. And starts from our fucking political leadership. So Donald Trump all the way down, right? From Donald Trump to individual governors like Ron DeSantis to fucking the jackass fucking dickbag Republican fucking right-wing psycho motherfuckers who believe in non-stop fucking conspiracy theories and live in some dumbass bullshit alternate reality. Like, it's fucking... Anyway. I'm gonna digress. Because if I don't digress, then I'm really going to go off on some fucking other shit. And, look, like I said, this is the last thing I will say. Politics affects everything, so it's impossible for me to not talk politics at all. However, I do want to try and keep the broad scale politics out of it as much as possible. So that's where I'm going to end it. I don't want to go off on a tangent on Donald Trump and our whole political system. So I'm a bounce. I hope you guys do appreciate my perspectives, though. And if you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts for my videos. Share my videos and channel with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And, of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. See y'all soon. Fins up.